A stranger shoved a sleeping baby into my arms and vanished. 2 minutes later, 3 masked men kicked open the bank doors and aimed their guns while their eyes never left me. If it were you, what would you have done? Freeze and hope someone braver shows up, or curl your body around a child who isn't yours and dare the world to try you? My name is Olivia Ellis. I'm a pediatric nurse running on bad coffee and 3 night shifts. And that Friday at Meridian National felt like the universe pulling a prank I wasn't in on. Fluorescent lights buzzing like flies, marble floors throwing every sound back twice as loud. My head, a slow drum, my rent already late, my student loans acting like they own me. You know what I mean when you stand in line and rehearse that pathetic speech about extensions and grace periods, and you hate yourself for how polite you sound. I was squeezing the strap of my bag hard enough to leave marks when she touched my elbow. Pretty shaken perfume that said money-chipped nail polish that said chaos. Could you hold him for 1 second? I can't find his pacifier. The baby was warm and heavy and smelled like powder and clean laundry. His lashes ridiculous, his mouth perfect. My hands moved before my brain could vote. I tucked him to my shoulder and rocked the way people like me rock even while we're asleep. Then the doors exploded inward and the world tilted. 3 men in black tactical gear ski masks, that awful competent way of moving, like they'd practiced on a slow Tuesday. On the ground now. Someone screamed, a laptop clattered across marble. The alarm woke up and wouldn't shut up, blinds snapped down. And I went to my knees with the baby under my chin, one hand cradling his head, one hand flat to the cold tile so I didn't drop us. Shh, I've got you. I breathed into soft hair I didn't know yet, heartbeat in my throat. The kind of fear you taste like a penny on your tongue. I looked for the mother. Restroom, back exit, anywhere. And there was no mother, just the echo of her perfume and a space where she used to be. Pattern interrupt. Because this is where the details go weird. The leader didn't sweep the room like a regular thief counting heads. He sliced the space into zones. Tellers dragged behind the counter customers to the east wall and me. You with the baby right there where I can see you. Not us, not the group, me. And when his eyes landed, they didn't land on my face first, they landed on the infant in my arms. Small detail, big problem. Outside, sirens braided into a single howl, red and blue flickered through the slats like the heartbeat of a sick city inside it. Felt like a church with all the wrong prayers. The baby stirred, hungry root reflex strong, and my hands found the diaper bag. The way they always do, automatic bottle, quick wrist check, latch like a champ. There you go, sweet boy. Drink like the world is normal. A bank teller my age slid a whisper my way without moving her lips. I saw her slip out the back right before they came in. She meant the woman who'd handed me the baby, and the quiet thing I felt right then wasn't shock. It was a click, like a puzzle piece finding home. I looked down at those dark navy eyes, almost black, and something inside me locked. I'm your person now, kid. I don't care who planned what, I'm not letting go. Listen. Time in a crisis isn't a straight line, it breathes. Minutes stretched thin, then snapped back hard. The leader watched me the way a hawk watches a field mouse talking on a phone that never showed a contact name. We have special packages, he said, looking at me while he said it, like I was an inventory item, not a person. I asked to change the baby because his diaper had weight. He waved me to a corner like a nuisance, and over there, on a loan officer's desk, in this pocket of almost privacy, I spread my jacket unbuttoned with muscle memory and felt something wrong in the diaper bag. The lining. Too thick stitching, not factory straight, a small hard rectangle sewn into a seam. I eased a nail under and freed a matte black flash drive and a note folded so tight it might have been a stone. Keep him safe. They killed his parents. My hands shook so hard I had to breathe through my teeth. I tucked the drive into my bra, changed him fast, whispered into that warm neck like a vow, I've got you, I mean it. Quick pause. This wasn't a robbery. It looked like one, it sounded like one, but every glance, every order, every too casual line on the leader's face said different. Then the air outside shifted. You could feel it through the blinds, even if you didn't know why. Unmarked black SUVs glided in and parked like chess pieces, not flashing lights, not sirens, just presence. A man stepped out, late 20s suit that knew what it was doing. Expression like a blade somebody kept sharp, the kind of posture that makes cops straighten even if they outrank him on paper. He moved without hurry, spoke to the police captain like they'd agreed to meet for coffee, and the whole perimeter reorganized around his voice. Yeah, that happened. And the robber by the window cursed because he recognized that suit, that face, that gravity. Then the main phone on the counter rang, old-school bell sound, too bright, in a room full of fear, and the leader picked up, listened, stiffened, shoved the receiver into my hand. He wants the mother. Wonderful. I pressed the phone to my ear, balanced the baby against my shoulder, braced for whatever voice bends a scene around it. This is Dominic Russo, he said, velvet with steel under it, words placed like chess, not checkers. The child you're holding has a birthmark shaped like a crescent moon on his right shoulder. My throat closed, I slid a finger under the baby's collar. There it was. A perfect crescent, small and undeniable. That child is my nephew, he said, quiet and certain. My brother's son. I know you're not his mother, but right now you're his protector, and for that, you have my gratitude and my resources. When the moment comes, follow my instructions exactly. Do you ever feel your gut recognize a voice faster than your brain can catch up? Because mine did. Okay, I said, soft enough that the robber had to lean closer to hear, and I watched his eyes when he heard the man on the other end. Mid-video checkpoint. Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind. An hour in hostage time is a year. People move from panic into a strange quiet, where they obey instructions they would never accept on any other day. The air got hot, stale, the leader's edges frayed. The older man near me loosened his tie with trembling fingers. A woman wept without sound. The baby slept and dreamed about better lives. The phone rang again. The leader snatched it, listened, shoved it back at me. Ms. Ellis, Dominic said, formal now, like we were at a PTA meeting, code sliding into code. I've spoken with your pediatric specialist about your son's formula. It's arriving shortly. When I say that, move away from the windows, trust no one but me. I repeated back what he needed me to repeat, like we'd practiced it, like I was in on the plan. Then the twist walked into the room wearing rage. The leader ripped off his mask because he had lost enough control to show his face. Tell Russo we know who the kid is, he growled at me, the soft-voiced deception gone. His brother's brat. The flash drive is just a bonus. He reached for the baby with a hand. I will remember in detail until the day I die, and my body reacted like it had been waiting. A sharp knee into a soft place, fast and mean, the kind of move you learn in crowded ER hallways at 2 a.m. when someone decides rules don't apply to you. He folded with a broken sound. His buddies swung their guns my direction, like they'd been dying for an excuse, and I stared them down with the face I reserve for parents who Google the wrong thing at 3 a.m. and then ignore a 103 fever. I have nothing except this child, I said steady like I wasn't lying through my teeth. If it were you, would you have handed over the drive and prayed for mercy, or lied and bet your life on it? The loudspeaker outside crackled in. The special formula is arriving now. That was the hinge between before and after. The windows blew at every entrance, flashbangs turned the world white and loud, my ears filled with a high ring, the alarm rebooted with a vengeance, smoke rolled in and stitched itself to the light. Gunfire, not movie neat, more like metal fists beating a door. Hostages scattered, some sprinting where they shouldn't, some flat and frozen, and I went low and crawled, baby tucked under me like the last unbroken piece of the world. Glass bit my knees, my elbows. I could taste chalk and copper. I could count his heart against my ribs, and I did counting like a spell that could hold us together. He appeared out of the smoke like a decision I'd already made, kneeling in one precise motion, to put his body between us and the gunfire. Not a vest, not a helmet, just a suit that shouldn't have belonged in the chaos and those eyes. Same impossible navy as the baby. "Give me the child," he said, steady, like a surgeon asking for a scalpel. "How do I know you're any better than them?" I shot back, because some part of me still lived in a world where questions mattered. His expression cracked for one clean second, grief in the split, honest and raw. "Alessandro died, trying to keep him from becoming what you fear I am," he said, and that was the only truth I needed right then. I handed him the baby, and the baby, who had been calm in a way I will never understand, reached up and put a tiny hand against his uncle's cheek, and the man flinched like love hurt. "The drive," I whispered, pulling it from where it had warmed against my skin, pressing it into his free hand like a confession. He closed his fingers around it, turned, shifted, and then a shot cracked the air, and he lunged, knocking me flat. My head bounced off stone and the edges went gray. The last thing I saw was his back curved over the baby. The last thing I heard was that high, relentless ring. The last thing I felt was a small hand still holding on. I woke in a bed that felt like a promise. A mattress salesman can't legally make light pouring through glass that belonged in a museum. The quiet hum of a building that never sleeps. 3 days gone to concussion and exhaustion, and a few cuts I hadn't noticed, bleeding a nurse I didn't know, hovering with a clipboard, security walking like whispers in the hall. I stood, I swayed, I followed the softest sound, a baby's breath, a tiny coo, into a nursery that could have been a catalog if catalogs had panic buttons and reinforced frames. He slept the name on the documents I'd been shown, said Marco Alessandro Russo, his fingers loose against his cheek, his mouth a soft O, and my chest did that thing where softness and sharpness arrived together. The door eased and Dominic stood there mourning, softening a face that had been all angles the last time I saw it. He didn't smile, not exactly. He looked at the sleeping baby like a man who counts breaths with his eyes. "You kept him safe when his own blood couldn't," he said quietly. "That creates a bond you don't argue with." Over the next days, I pieced together the parts nobody says out loud. Alessandro. The younger brother, the one who hated shadows, the one who glimpsed the rot in the family's money and tried to drag it. Screaming into daylight, ran with evidence and a pregnant wife, a car found at the bottom of a ravine and set on fire like a full stop, a baby who somehow didn't die. A woman who handed me that baby and a note before she vanished. "Here's where I make some of you angry." He gave me a choice, laid it out like a contract. "You can walk away under a new name with more money than your debts know what to do with," he said. Voice, even eyes, steady. "No strings, truly. Or you can stay. Stay, and he has you, and I have you, and anyone who wants to touch him meets both of us first." I looked past him at the city moving like it always does, indifferent and loud, at the guards by the door, who breathed shallow because they're trained to at the crib, that looked like it could stop a truck. I thought about child services and underfunded systems and caseworkers with too many files. I thought about men with unmarked cars, and short tempers, and long histories, and I thought about promises whispered into baby hair on a marble floor that still shows the scuff marks. Do you think that's fair? To have to choose between clean and safe to know law might be right, and still not be enough. The drive was ugly truth packed tight. Dates, names, accounts, photos of handshakes nobody was supposed to see. Dominic didn't nuke the world with it. He used it like a scalpel. Precise, cold, cutting only where it mattered to protect the child and burn out a few cancers. Some enemies went quiet, some family got restructured. The news said bland sentences about cooperation. Nobody said a word about a baby who slept through chaos and woke up to lullabies. People ask, was Dominic a hero? He's a man who put his body between a bullet and a stranger, a man other men fear more than the police, a man who held a baby like he had spent years practicing for it and was shocked to find he was good. Two truths can live in the same skin. What did I choose? If you've been listening, you already know. It wasn't a speech, it was a nod, a quiet yes in a room with sunlight on a rug. I stayed. Not because marble and security make me feel big, not because new names and clean money fix old messes. I stayed because I meant it when I said, I've got you, and because the safest place for that drive, the only thing that makes certain people behave, wasn't a safe or a server. It was me. He agreed without blinking. The leverage lives where I live used for one promise only. The kid stays clean. We put routines in place like sandbags before a flood pediatrician who makes house calls and tells the truth. Nanny checklists I built like a field manual emergency plans for every flavor of bad day. Some nights the city knocks anyway. When it does, his hand finds the curve of Marco's back, mine finds the front door. Pattern interrupt. People who saw the hostage footage send messages they call me brave or foolish or lucky, and maybe I'm all three. I'm also a woman who was already tired and still did the next right thing, a nurse who counts heartbeats and numbers breaths and knows the sound a promise makes inside your chest when it clicks. Here's the part that will light up the comments. Is it wrong to make a deal with power to keep a child safe when the law doesn't reach far enough? Is it wrong to accept protection that comes with a cost you can't itemize? Is found family less real if it's built inside a fortress with bulletproof glass and a panic room down the hall? I can live with your answers. I live with mine every morning. When a little boy wakes up hungry and happy and safe enough to demand bananas immediately, like he owns the place. If it were you, what would you have done? Handed him to the system and hoped it held, or stood next to a man the city fears and said, we're doing this our way. Do you think that's fair? Tell me for real. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if you've ever had to pick between bad and worse. Tell me if you've ever protected someone in a way you knew people might judge you for. Drop your story so somebody watching at 2 a.m. with a knot in their throat knows they're not the only one. Stick around for the next chapter. The day I walked into a lawyer's office and told the Russo family what I would and wouldn't sign, what happened there will blow your mind. If this hit you, share it, argue with it, send it to that friend who swears life is simple, and hit subscribe so you don't miss part 2. I'll be here telling it the way it happened. Crooked lines, honest heart, you know what I mean.